Welcome to What I Know to Be True So Far, the podcast that empowers you to blend soul-led magic with grounded action. If you're ready to create a life and business that's fully aligned with joy, love, abundance, and purpose, this podcast is for you. I'm your host, Kerri-Ann McKenzie, a multi-passionate manifestation magic maker, soul-led business strategist, money coach and marketer, creative and nature connection advocate. I'm also the mother of 3 incredibly eccentric children, soulmate to the sweetest man on earth, and guardian to one very witchy black cat. Join me and my guests as we dive into the awakened experiences, the soul-led wisdom bites, the practical magic steps that will support you to manifest the life and business you love. Whether it's moon phases or new age marketing plans, rituals or revenue streams, I'll be covering it all. I'm so grateful to have you here on this journey with me. Let's explore what we know to be true so far. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to another episode of What I Know to Be True So Far. Oh my gosh, I have been on a journey. I turned 40, very exciting, and I went to Japan, which was mind-blowing. It's been on my list of things to manifest for so long, and not long before my 40th, like a month or 2 before my 40th, I was like, I just want to manifest what I really want, which is a trip to Japan. And then all these things just kept falling into place, and I was like, oh, right, guess we're going to Japan. And it was kind of mind-blowing how quickly it all manifested as soon as I set the intention, and it was just the most incredible trip. I mean, there was stuff that happened. I got a stomach bug on day 2, and it really tested my optimism, but it was life-changing. It brought me and my partner closer than we've ever been, and it gave me this incredible space to want to simplify my life and my business. And I came back and I did so much clearing out. So I let go of so much of what wasn't working towards my greater mission, so to speak. I reorganized my business so that I just have these really core offerings and can work really closely with my clients. I've moved way more into bringing the business element into the work that I do with Kerri-Ann McKenzie, my marketing company. It's turned into a whole new project with my life partner, which has just been like amazing. So we're in the process of working on that together. So that's very exciting. And yeah, just so much has changed and manifested, and abundance in ways that I just didn't even think was like on the radar for the end of the year. And I'm sitting in all the gratitude of it all. And it's a real testament to releasing and letting go of things and noticing how the universe brings you more of what's really, truly aligned with your bigger vision of creating joy, purpose, and abundance in your life and in your business as well. So I'm going to share way more on that. But today I'm going to be talking about something a little bit magical, I would say mystical, I would say also old wisdom, I would say, and something that I'm really keen on doing, especially with the work that I do in accounting and marketing and business management, is really bringing all the new age in, which is really the old ways, and merging the old ways with our current ways, but also the advancement of technologies to kind of have this really beautiful, magical space that we use our businesses as a conduit for good to really change the trajectory of the darkness that's been going on our planet in the most recent times, and spreading light into those areas and using our businesses as a way to create this energetic field of good in the world, and to spread through our work in our businesses, in our soul missions, this expansiveness of raising the vibrations on our planet and expanding our consciousness to be of higher frequencies of things like love and joy and compassion. So one of the ways that I've been doing this is really looking at really closely the cycles of nature and using my business to align with the cycles of nature. Now, is 3 different areas or elements to this, because when we're looking at our business structure and our soul-led work, something I do with all of my clients who are on like the monthly retainers with me is that we're looking at doing their monthly management meetings. Now, when we do that, we're looking at everything that happened in the previous month, and then we're making analytical observations of the things that happened so that it can help us to make decisions about the next coming month. And now all of that is done with a bunch of spreadsheets and reports and all the nerdy stuff that I love with accounting and marketing, and we bring that together. But the other element of that is really looking at all of the magical components of how we work as spiritual entrepreneurs, magical entrepreneurs, soul-led entrepreneurs. And that is such a huge part of what it is that we do. So we get to the start of every month and we do all of the completion of the previous month, and then we do a monthly management meeting, which helps us review what's happened and make decisions about what needs to happen in the coming month. So when we do that process, that needs to be done in the first 1 to 5 days, but sometimes it's 1 to 7 days, depending on some other elements. It's also that time for planning. It's the time for looking at your content. It's the time for really looking at your bigger marketing objectives and how they fit into the current month you're working on. So it needs to be done at the start of the month. Now, that doesn't always fall in alignment with the two other cyclical factors that you need to take into consideration in your business, and that is the moon phases, and that is also your period, your cycle, if you're still having a cycle or if you have a cycle. So it's really looking at when we do that monthly management, right? Where are the moon phases also falling in the month? And also, where is your period cycle in that month? Because if you're like me, I cannot make business decisions, or I literally ban myself from making business decisions the week before my period. It's when I need the most rest. It's when I just need to be doing creative things. I'm not extroverted in that week. I am all things introverted, and I just need to be in my bubble of self-care, creativity, and slowness. When I get my period, the day after I get my period, I have all this energy, and that's when I can harness a lot of my planning, a lot of my action taking, all those things. So you have to be mindful of your period and how you work with that if it affects your workflow. For some people, it doesn't affect their workflow, but they like to maybe line up their business actions in accordance with the different cycles of stages of your cycle, because there are stages that bringing new life and creativity and stuff into projects, you can harness that energy. So then there is the other element of working with the moon cycles that have their own different energetics that come with each phase, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. The moon phases and how you can use them in your business to align with the energies of those phases to do certain things in your business and how that might look for you. All right, so let's dive into it. So the first thing I want to say to you, above all, is that you use your inner wisdom, which is your intuition, to make the decisions about when it's right for you to do things in your business. If it feels good to do something, then do it. Even if the moon isn't always aligned or your cycle isn't always aligned, if your intuition is a yes, that's when these things need to happen. Always use your intuition, because it's your inner magic, it's your inner wisdom, and it knows far better than anything else. And also, I'd just like to know that this also applies for anyone who isn't running a business. If you're not running a soul-led business and you're just out to manifest your wildest dreams, this episode and talking about these moon phases will also apply to you. You can apply them to anything that you're trying to create, not just creating within your business structure. All right. So let's just talk about the basics quickly. So the moon goes through a complete cycle every 29.5 days. So it's moving from the new moon to the full moon and then back again. So each of the phases bring its own kind of unique energy. And once you start working with the cycle of the moon, you'll find that it has a very profound impact on your business and your creativity and your inner flow. I also recommend, when you're working with the moon phases, that you also journal a lot, because it helps you understand how you work with the moon phases and how your emotions are affected by the moon phases. Years and years ago, when I started working with my intuition and magic, and maybe 10 years ago now, I came across a lady named Izzy Spencer. She was a lawyer who then turned into like a moon expert, basically. And she talked a lot about this journaling with your emotions and the moon. So the new moon is all about setting intentions and new beginnings, right? So it's the time of darkness. It's when the moon isn't visible in the sky. And this phase is really all about new beginnings. I have an awesome new beginning spell that I love to do with herbs as well. So you can use the new moon energy for all of your business stuff, but you can activate it as well with spell work if that's something that you're really interested in. All right, so it's like your blank canvas and then like your planting your seeds, right, for the future growth. So it's really amazing every now and then when the new moon falls in that first week of when you're doing like your financials and your reviews on your business as well, because you can supercharge all the intentions. But if you have set some intentions or goals for your month, you can revisit those goals and then use that in this phase of the moon. So you're really looking at reconnecting with your vision in your business, and you're really like asking yourself, what is it that I want to achieve and create? What is it that I'm trying to do? And then this is really looking at, if you've set intentions and clear goals that you want to manifest for your month of your business, it's really looking closely at them in this phase and really allowing them to be fully set in this phase as well. So just taking the time to reflect on what it is that you're trying to manifest in this lunar cycle. Of the things that you're trying to manifest and the goals that you've got in your business, how can you bring the energy of those into this phase of the moon? And here's something like a little tip, right? So let's say like your new moon phase is not at the start of the month, but you've set some intentions for at the start of the month for some goals that you have that you're working through. You might want to hold off, right, on the actual like bringing those intentions to life until that new moon comes in that phase. And this is why we put the moon phases, right, into your calendar, looking at the moon phases within the month, so that as you do your planning at the start of the month, you can line up some of these things with the moon phases. So the new moon is all about setting intentions and new beginnings. And so if you wanted to go through that process in your business, you're really looking at the goals that you've already set, if you've already done your monthly review, and you're looking at bringing those and setting them as full intentions around that new moon time of the month. And so if you've got a project, for example, that you're trying to create, you would aim for the creation of that project to happen within the current month that you're working in around this new moon phase. The next moon phase after the new moon is the waxing crescent, and this is all about taking inspired action. So you're basically looking at like the light is starting to return, and with it your intentions are starting to gather like a little bit of momentum. And this is like the phase where action is key, because you're putting into momentum those first little bits and pieces that you need to start doing, like your initial steps, right, to move you towards your goal. So many people have so much resistance to taking action towards goals when we work in this soul-led space, because it should just flow and it should all just be like, only, these moments where you feel like you should take action and all that. But actually noting where the moon cycles are and using that as a way to take these actions towards our goals can be so powerful, because it can activate the inspired action. You can't wait for inspired action. You have to activate inspired action. And this is where I think a lot of people get hung up, because they're always waiting to feel inspired. But sometimes your mind, your ego, it doesn't want you to expand. And so it will give you every excuse under the sun to cloud that inspired action. And so unless you're entirely in tune, and you meditate every day and you're fully in tune with your egoic structure, how it works, how it uses sabotaging behaviors to work against you, it's very hard to know the difference between there is inspired action and you're not taking action versus there's no inspired action nudges at all. So when we look at inspired action, using this time within the moon to activate the inspired action, because then you can use the energy to help you grow and to focus on nurturing your intentions, to wake up the sparks of inspired action towards your goal, to let go of any of the egoic mind structure that's trying to stop you from taking inspired action. So some ways to activate the inspired action might be just doing a little bit of researching, playing with some planning, and what would some small steps look like, and staying open to opportunities that align with your desires and being proactive in pursuing them, even if there's procrastination that comes up, because when you then take those small actions, more inspiration comes to take more inspired actions. You activate it. And so you might even want to use this phase with the waxing crescent to create content and reach out to people you might want to collaborate with, or people you just have a meaningful connection with. You just want to reach out, touch base. And it's really important in this time as well to have a lot of the energy of optimism and growth. So you're like riding the wave of starting to bring energy into what it is that you're trying to create. All right? It's not about being like super perfect with this, because let's say if your period's not matching up, this might be a time in your menstrual cycle that feels like you need to nurture yourself. Or like, I'm thinking about myself, sometimes I just want to like hide in the trees. You're allowed to take that space as well, but be mindful that also this is the waxing crescent phase, and so it is that moment where you can also take some small, gentle, inspired actions towards your intentions. The next moon phase we have is the first quarter, and so this is about making decisions and overcoming challenges. So when it's like things are starting to get real, and your energy you find that it's a little bit higher, your emotions are a little bit like joyful, and you have challenges coming up, or there might be blocks that are coming up, and you have to make decisions, and you're being tested in this phase, but like you're also overcoming them. You've got that energy to break through any of the obstacles, and you begin like evaluating almost like your progress and your intentions and how they're coming to be. You're making all of the necessary adjustments, and you have to be disciplined or determined in this phase, right? Because setbacks might start to pop up, and you need to be able to work through them with the higher energy levels that you can embody, especially the energy and frequencies of joy, and using them in a way like with gratitude, like bringing gratitude in for the progress that you're doing and what you've done so far, but also using that as energy to go through any of the challenges that might come up in this phase. So the magic of this phase also is about always coming back and aligning deeply with your path. So if something feels like off or out of sync, it's also the time that you want to sort of course correct and be flexible and ask yourself like what needs to shift and change to stay in alignment with the intentions and the vision that I had. So it's all about working through any of the friction, and it's not about pushing through, but it's about breaking through with new realizations, new wisdom, and this new energy of moving past things. So you're not like being overcome by any of the challenges or being freaked out by anything. You're knowing that this is the space of expansion and growth, and I can use this as a way to keep up coming back to my vision, coming back to my alignment, and being able to overcome any of the challenges, which then help you expand into your vision for your business and expand into bringing things into fruition, and also help with the manifestation process too, because the universe loves action, and it loves when you're responsible, and it loves when you're expanding. It just is how it works. All right, next phase is the waxing gibbous. So this is really looking at refining and fine-tuning. So you're building off the energy of the last phase. By this point, you've taken some action You've done some work through some of those initial phases of challenges and obstacles, and now you're like reviewing and fine-tuning and refining. It's also a really great space to be fully in that trusting of the process, because at this point some stuff might be like really not going how you may originally have thought it would go on, because we can't control the house. We think we can all the time, but we can't. And so you have to really hold on to that belief that your desire is still on its way, and really hold on to that optimism and maintain like a positive mindset, but really being open to refining things. So really working towards things in your business that are needing some like tweaks, and then making those tweaks. So it might be a phase where you revisit any of your content or like your wording. Say, for example, you've done like a release of an offering, or you've done a landing page or something like that, and or one of your sales funnels, and you're like going through and then checking, how's that going? How's that funnel working? What are my insights in there? What can I look at with my conversions? Are they in the right space? Was I getting the conversions on an opt-in or a landing page or something like that? And what needs to be refined? What words can you change on your landing page to test? And so the energy is really building towards the fullness, right? We're moving towards the full moon. So we're like at the peak of the big reveal, but we just need to do a few tweaks before we get there. And that's what this moon phase is really great for. All right, next moon phase is the full moon. It's all about celebration and harvest. So when we're looking at the full moon, it's like one of the most potent times of the month. And this is when the moon is at its brightest. It's shining all its magic for all to see, unless it's cloudy. But the moon energy is still there, right? In its full, powerful time of manifestation, but also releasing. So in this phase, you're celebrating your progress and your achievements, and then you're also releasing any doubts, fears, limitations, all of the junk that comes up about how you shouldn't be doing this or how dare you do that, which happens. We've all got egos, and I think that it's a really great time in the full moon phase to sit down and really ask yourself, where is my mindset at? Where is my energy levels at? And are there any repeating thought patterns and things that need to be released? Are there any relationships as well in this moon phase that need to be released, that's holding you back, right? You need to let go of anything that's no longer serving you for your highest good, and then use this full moon as a time of celebration as well. So you are celebrating and letting things come to fully, get towards their peak of manifestation, releasing anything that's going to hold you back, and then you're really honoring the wins so far. Doesn't matter how big, doesn't matter how small, you're celebrating yourself, you're celebrating your soul-led business, and it's just a beautiful time to reflect on the progress that you've made and give yourself permission to pause and soak it all in. It's also the time for honoring you as a beautiful soul-led business owner, which we don't often do. So just taking the moment to really go, look at me and all of the amazing things that I do. It is quite incredible when you look at a soul-led business owner, because we do things so differently out of the scope of like normal business. But any business owner, actually, incredible human beings, to show up consistently, to pour our energy into things that we want to bring into the world is quite amazing. So using this time to really honor that within yourself as well. And then if something's not working in your business or even in your life, it's also just the time to let go with grace. I have a really amazing forgiveness ritual that I love to do in the full moon to let go. So if you want a copy of that, let me know. You can jump in my DMs over on Instagram, or you can send me an email and just say, please send me the forgiveness ritual, and I can send you a copy of that. It's a really great ritual that you can do with the full moon energy that really helps you release and forgive. The rituals around full moon that you might want to do that's not like forgiveness rituals is like gratitude lists. You can host like a full moon gathering with other women in business, collaborators, and just get together and use that powerful wisdom of the sisterhood with the full moon energy as well. If you can't connect in circle in person, there's loads of online places that allows you to connect in circle. It's such a beautiful practice. I used to do spell nights with a group around the full moon, and it was just such a magical experience. I love getting together with other women. But if you can't do it in person, you can do it online. And then also you can just have a little ritual by yourself as well. All right, next phase of the moon is the waning gibbous. Now, this is all about reflection and sharing wisdom and having insights. So you're going to be really tying up loose ends and finalizing any projects in this phase as well. And your goals are nearing to completion. So it's reflecting on what you learn throughout the lunar cycle and integrating or looking at what you can then integrate as far as like the lessons go through the different things that happened in your business. It's also about self-care this phase as well. So if you want to do some reflecting on the things that have worked for you with what it was that you're trying to create, it's also looking at really nurturing yourself as you do that reflection. And so making lots of space for relaxation and recharging your energy. You can also connect with your community in this phase. Maybe it's through a meetup or just reaching out to people in your community, or you might want to engage in conversations in some of your online community spaces as well and just share what you've learned from this cycle. You can offer advice as well and insights and value for other people as they go through their process of reflecting in this phase. The energy here is about really, although you're turning inwards and you're looking in, it's also like the energy of giving back as well. So it's not about receiving and bringing forward, right? It's about reflecting and giving back and giving even into the things that you've done within your business and really looking at how can I give back to the people that it is that I serve, and just use it as a time to pour wisdom, especially for me, because I'm working closely with clients and we've mapped out things for them to do in the month that kind of align with the moon phases as well. This is also my time to check in and be like, hey, like, how did this all play out? How did this all work? And how can we like use this open communication space for me to be able to really give some valuable insights, or allow the space for my clients to share their valuable insights and give feedback in this space. So yeah, really beautiful time. And then we've got the last quarter, which is all about releasing and reassessing basically. So you're nearing like the end of the cycle, and the energy is about reassessment and releasing. What do you need to let go of before the new moon cycle comes? So we have the full moon, which is about releasing so that we've got the space to pull things forward for that completion phase. And now this is really looking at, what do I fully need to clean the slate, or what do I need to surrender to and let go of and release attachments to the outcomes, like trust in the divineness of like the universal timing, focusing on that, more of that inner reflection and spiritual growth through the things that you've experienced in your business, taking that time to rest, rejuvenate, and then you're prepping yourself for the new cycle. And so it's a great time for you to reflect on your systems as well, like your business systems and processes. Are they still serving you? Are they allowing you to move into your next phases, right? And if something feels like heavy, like there's one particular thing that really didn't work in your business, or it felt out of alignment for you, like it felt really forced or not matched with your vision. Maybe you said yes to something that you shouldn't have said yes to. It's time to cut the ties around this time. So think of it like as a decluttering of your business, right? In this time. And you can even use this phase to declutter your desk. Like the universe loves when you make space for new things to come in. And so you can declutter your desk space or go through your inbox and clear out all the things in there, like use this time to do that. And then we've got the waning crescent, which is about resting and recharging. So you come into this phase and it's all surrender and it's all rest. And maybe some of the things didn't manifest that you were hoping they would manifest in the lunar cycle. That's okay. Absolutely, perfectly okay. Sometimes things are not meant to manifest for our growth so that we can learn and expand. Some things don't manifest because of divine timing. It's not meant for us at this time. Sometimes things don't manifest because they truly weren't meant for us. And all of that is perfectly okay. Sometimes people get very hung up on the manifestations not coming to be. And I want to remind you in this phase that you are allowed to just love on yourself completely with so much compassion, regardless of what manifested and what didn't manifest, what results you were hoping for that came to be or didn't come to be, whatever it is. Slow down, retreat, recharge, be kind to yourself. Make sure your thoughts about yourself and your business are super lovely and kind. Use this time as a way to just show up for yourself with permission to rest, reflect, reset, to love on yourself big time, and give yourself like the space for a really nice digital detox. Make the space for reconnecting to your intuition, taking care of yourself, having the introspection, preparation for the new lunar cycle, but you're doing this with all of the gentle energy, the gentle reset energy, right? Reflecting on your achievements and all the challenges and all of that without that high, new burst of energy, with more of that relaxed energy. So you're working towards coming up to the new cycle. What have you learned and how is that going to impact your new intentions? But you're doing that with a gentle mindset. Loads of self-care, loads of nurturing activities like walking in nature and resting, and just allowing yourself to step back. You don't always need to be doing to be in alignment with your soul-led business. You need a season of rest, and this is your season if you're working with the moon energy. Perfect if your cycle also aligns with this. It's such a gift to have the waning crescent align with the, later phases of your menstrual cycle as well. So the magic of working with the moon phases in your business is that you are bringing in the old ways of working with the natural cycles of our planet. And so the more you do this, the more you can find yourself tuning into the moon cycles and your creativity and your intuition and your flow state as well. So I've touched on lots of the surface level stuff of the different phases and the energy of that. But once you start journaling with it as well, you're empowering yourself to understand, to have more awareness of how you as a soul-led business owner is impacted by the moon's energy, how you can use that energy to bring things into manifestation, to take bigger aligned business actions according to the phases of the moon. Don't ever let the phases of the moon be what your ego holds on to as a crutch not to take action. The ego will try to stop you from doing anything expensive and maybe throw in some ideas about how it's better just to wait till next month. So don't allow yourself to fall into that trap. Use this as a way to empower you, not to hold you back. As you go ahead with working with the moon phases, take time to notice internally how things feel for you. Take time to notice how things are reflected externally in your world, because we're always being influenced in some way. And this is one of the things I always help people understand, whether we're working on the money stuff, whether we're working on the marketing stuff, whether we're working on the business management stuff, whether we're working on manifestation stuff. You are always being influenced, and you're being influenced by your mind. You're being influenced by your body. You're being influenced by the environment in which you participate in your day-to-day life, but also online. And you're also being influenced by the environment out in space, which is the moon, and that the energy's there. And you're also being influenced by the spiritual realms. There's so much influence that's happening all the time. And your job is to stay very grounded and connected to your soul, your inner being, as your guide through everything, but being mindful that you're always being influenced, and you can harness the influence in your life to help you achieve and manifest great things. You can harness and nurture your mind to be a positive influence. You can harness and nurture your environment to be a positive influence. You can harness and nurture the energies, like the energies of the moon, to be a positive influence for you. So you're always being mindful of all the influences going on around you, and then you are using your intention, your soul's connection, your intuition, your inner being messages, your inner voice to harness those influences as positively as possible to bring forward into the world everything that you want to create. And the second you get that, it's amazing because you can curate everything around you to be a positive influence. And this is why I love anything to do with positive living or joyful living or love frequency living or compassion living, because what you're doing in that space is you're not controlling, you're being incredibly self-aware and you're being incredibly conscious of influences so that you can tap into what you want to curate in order to positively influence your experience of life, positively influence your abundance, your joy, your satisfaction, your purpose, your connection to others, your energy of love. Like, you get to consciously create through curating the influences to best give you the results that you are trying to achieve in your life and in your business as well. So, an invitation today, if you've never worked with the natural cycles of the moon in your business, start slow. Start with using some of these phases, as I've talked about them, to power up your business decisions and your business actions and your bringing forward of creations in your business as well. If this is interesting to you and you want to hear more about this and how you can align your financials and your marketing and all of those cool nerdy things with the moon energy in more detail, please let me know, because I'd love to create some more content like this if it's of interest to you. Go and follow me over at Kerry Ann McKenzie on Instagram, where you can jump in my DMs and say hello to me. I love to connect. Also, you can go on there and see any of the links in my bio as well for any of the offerings that I have, whether that is working deeper with me or whether that is getting one of my free resources. If you would like that forgiveness spell ritual around the full moon energy, please send me a message. It has been a delight to have you with me on this show, and I can't wait to share another episode with you soon. And what I know to be true so far about the magical world of creating beautiful lives and businesses that we truly love. See you in the next episode. Bye.